that down. Let's move on to this, shall we? You guys know, for any of you who've watched my show for any period of time, my absolute number one most anticipated film of the year is Superman. Damn right. James Gunn has never let me down. I'm not saying James Gunn's a perfect director, but literally, I go over his filmography, his whole career. He has never let me down. He can make great films in Marvel. He can make great films in DC. He's now running this brand new DC cinematic universe. Superman is coming. Our first entry into this brand new universe. All due respect to Creature Commandos, but nobody cared. This is our first entry into the brand new DCU. And James Gunn's doing it. And David Corn Sweat looks great. And listen, up until this point, everything I and Rob, you have heard about this movie has been nothing short of fantastic. We talked a couple of weeks or just last week about how hundreds, thousands of fans were treated to being shown the first full 30 minutes of the film, and they all lost their minds about how great was it. Rob, you and I, we just talked yesterday or 2 days ago, I can't remember, about the fact that now they've started screening it for exhibitors. They've started screening it for some, what's that? Is it the Matt Reeves thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll wait on that till
breaking news.
Yeah.
It's only 11 minutes old.
Yeah, somebody wrote a script. We'll talk about that another time.
Okay.
But like you and I were talking just the other day that we have spoken to several individuals who saw it and they all loved it. Everybody like the person I talked to, a movie theater manager, said to me, I loved it. You, Campea, talking to me, you will be very happy. You talked at length about somebody we know that saw it and all the details they gave about how great it is. Now listen, because this is my most anticipated film of the year, and because I rush to tell you guys whenever we hear anything great about it, I feel that it's only fair and it's only objective and it's only balanced if I hear something that isn't so great. I mean, if I'm going to rush onto my show and keep telling you guys every time I hear something great about Superman, which I love doing, it's only fair if I also come to you and let you know when I legitimately hear something not so great about Superman. And that is what I have to do today. They've been doing more screenings of it, Rob. So they've done a number of screenings of Superman now. And I know, and you know, a whole bunch of people that have seen it. I've talked to more people who've seen it, all that kind of stuff. And I can say that every single person I've talked to about this film who has seen it, whether they be, movie theater people, whether they be studio people, whether they be podcasters, whatever, everybody I have talked to has said they either really like it or love it. Until now. I was speaking, well, first I should say there's also one person that I spoke to yesterday that thought it was mid, thought it was, it's all right. Superman's all right. So everybody else I talked to loved it, but this one person I talked to last night, it's all right. But then there's another person I talked to, and she straight up hated it.
Really?
Like, hated it. And this person, she's no DC hater by any stretch of the imagination. And they used words like convoluted. They used words like messy. They used the phrase massively disappointed. And this is somebody who's, not an extremist. Oh, I love comic book movies, or I hate comic book movies, or I love the old DC, or I hate the old. No, pretty balanced person. And they straight up hated it. Now, I have to emphasize, this is one person. But again, in the service of fairness, I just kind of felt like if I'm going to rush onto my show and put up thumbnails about talking about every time I have somebody tell me that they loved Superman, if I'm going to do that, then it's only fair for me to also come out and say, hey, it's not all roses. It's not 100% of the people that I know that have seen it have loved it. If I'm going to tell you about the good, I need to tell you about the bad. And unfortunately, Rob, the streak I had, my personal streak that I had going here of every single person I know who has seen this has loved it, that streak is now over.
Do I know this lovely lady?
You definitely know of. Okay, I know for a fact that you've met her.
Okay.
I know, but how much you know them behind the scenes, I'm not sure, but I absolutely know that you've met her. But anyway, again, fairly balanced person. This isn't some extremist kind of thing, and they completely loved it. So, Rob, we always talk about how film is subjective, right? Different movies will hit us in different ways. And despite the fact that I think Warner Brothers, and despite the fact that I think a lot of fans, and hey, I'll put myself in here too. I think despite the fact that I would love to go into the opening of Superman where every single man, woman, and child on the face of God's glorious earth is singing hallelujah to the praises of how great Superman is. Hallelujah. I want that. I want that. I think you want that. I think a lot of the fans watching the show want that. I know Warner Brothers wants that. I know James Gunn wants that. But the reality is, not everybody does. I have now talked to at least one person who was at least underwhelmed by it, and I've talked to one person who just straight up hates this movie and thinks it's terrible. So, I mean, that's the subjectivity film. Has it taken a little bit of the wind out of my sails as far as my excitement goes? Yes, but that's just because I wanted to hear nothing but pure positive praise about it. But Rob, all films are subjective, and nothing is going to work for everybody. And so are you surprised at this point now that it's not everybody who loves it? And does this do anything to affect kind of your enthusiasm with where you're at right now?
Not at all, because I would say that this movie is a wild swing in terms of the tone, in terms of what it's trying to do. And James Gunn said it himself. If Guardians of the Galaxy 1, we talked about this yesterday, was his homage or his love letter to cinema, he then stated just the other night that this movie is his love letter to comic books. And he is a connoisseur, and he is a great lover of comics, certain eras of comics. Somebody, Tom from a different YouTube channel, posted some comic book panels from John Byrne's post-Crisis on Infinite Earth Superman run from the mid-'80s yesterday. And it was panel for panel, almost the exact recreation of a scene where Superman busts into Luthor's office. He's not talking about the dog, but in the scene, it's set up the same. And when I saw that, I'm like, I love this. I love that James Gunn is doing homages to actual famous comic creators and using them like what comic cover artists would do. They would always do homages to other cover artists. I love that he's doing that, and he's really bringing his deep knowledge of comic book lore to a film, because no one's ever done that for Superman, not like this. And I think a lot of people are going to reject the fantastical fantasy of it all, the fact that it isn't trying to turn Superman into a messianic figure like what Zack Snyder was doing, I thought very well, or what Christopher Reeve was doing in at least his first two Superman movies. James Gunn is embracing the whimsy. He's embracing the four-color fantasy. He's embracing the Silver Age in a way that we've never seen before. And I think a lot of people's initial reaction to this is going to be, certainly a lot of the Snyder cultists online have rejected a lot of this movie out of hand because it's so diametrically different from what they've grown up with and they know and they love. So there's going to be a lot of people who are going to watch this movie and I think dismiss it out of hand because it's so different from what they want or expect. However, that is exactly what I am excited about. I've seen all these other movies. I love all these other movies. I grew up with George Reeves in the 50s. I went and saw Superman the movie when it first opened in 78. As a kid, I've grown up and read every iteration of Superman comics. This is something new. And for that alone, I'm excited to see an auteurist director who wrote and directed a film, a Superman movie, and made it their own. and has a whole new universe to show us. And there's so much potential. And I'm really excited for it for that reason, for personal reasons. And you know what, John? Maybe I too, like this person, maybe she and I will share the same sentiment. I don't know. I'm really tremendously excited for this movie. But if I don't like it, you're going to hear from me. And I'll tell you straight up. You know, I'm not cashing Warner Brothers checks. James Gunn is not sending me promises of a career enhancement if I talk nicely about this movie. I don't get that stuff. All I get is a great movie and a great experience, and that's all I'm looking for.
Yeah, look, and again, I really feel like I need to reemphasize here, almost everybody I have spoken to now that has seen this film is raving about it and loves it. I can't emphasize that point enough. Again, to me though, if I'm going to run on here all, yay, everybody look, somebody else loves Superman, like exactly what I want to hear. If I'm going to do that, then I also have to be open and fair and tell you guys when somebody hates it. And it's not, guess what? When it comes out, it's not going to have 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. All right. It's not. I already know one person who's going to be registering her vote on there, and it ain't going to be a good one. So it's not going to be 100%. And look, to your point, Rob, I may not like it. Like a lot of this year I've spent going to movies I've been really excited about, only to walk out kind of disappointed. That could happen with this movie. Absolutely it could. I'm under no delusions that this movie does not have the possibility of sucking. All I'm saying is that I've loved everything I've seen from it so far. I have absolute faith in James Gunn because he's never let me down. I love his vision for what he's doing. And I've heard from the vast majority of people that I've talked to who have seen this film now have absolutely loved it. A lot of them going out of the way just to reach out to me saying, hey, Campea, you're not going to be disappointed, which is great, but not all of them. I've got at least one friend of mine telling me, not so good, not so great. And hey, you know what? That's the same as any movie. Not all movies are going to have everybody love them. There isn't a single movie that's ever been made that everybody loves it, except for maybe the original Toy Story. Anyway, so that's kind of my thing on that. But Rob, I got to ask you, like, we are now basically like 10 days away from this movie coming out. It's like, at least you got your tickets for the advanced Amazon screening, right?
I didn't. I'm going to see it on the opening day.
Oh, dude.
I don't have a ticket.
Okay, I bought a bunch for some friends. If any of them have to back out.
If there's an extra, I'll go.
I will absolutely bring you if an extra pops up here. But
I'll go.
We're about 10 days away now. Where are you right now? Because you've also, like me, you've been talking to a number of people who have seen it. Everybody you've talked to has been lauding it. You've now seen all the promotion and everything. Where are you at right now as far as what you're expecting out of this Superman movie?
I'm expecting to have a great time. You know, I'm expecting to smile a lot and clap and woohoo and hoot and holler and want to leave the theater wanting to get a Hot Toys figure of David Cornsweet as Superman with his crypto. You know, I'm really excited. Like, how can you not be excited about like this movie? To me, you know what, John? I can equate it. I brought up Pacific Rim earlier. I was deliriously excited to see Pacific Rim, and I went and saw a screening of it about 4 months in advance with some friends and at the Burbank 16.
Right.
And Guillermo del Toro showed up and no one knew he was there. He was in the lobby afterwards greeting everybody. That audience went bananas. It was like being at a WWF event. You know, people were standing up applauding in the theater. I got exactly what I'd hoped to get out of that Pacific Rim screening and that movie. I love the first Pacific Rim. I haven't felt that way about a movie until this Superman. Since then, because it tickled my child. I loved Japanese science fiction. I loved Japanese robots. I love kaiju movies growing up. You know, give me Jet Jaguar and Godzilla versus Megalon. I was like, I couldn't believe that somebody made Pacific Rim. I kind of feel that way about this movie. It's got all this great stuff that I loved as a kid, reading comic books like James Gunn was talking about. I love that scene when he goes in and confronts Luthor. Where's the dog? You know, I loved all that. Yeah. And that tone is what I want from this movie. This isn't to say I don't love other kinds of movies, but my anticipation for this is off the charts. Not quite as high as Project Hail Mary, but somewhere close, because I expect to have a great time, because it has everything that I love. So
Yeah, I am practically drooling.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. But again, like I've been saying all month, I am really set up for disappointment. because,
Yeah, me
because
too.
I have not been hyped for this movie in well over a year. Like the last time I was this excited for a film was Deadpool and Wolverine, and thankfully that delivered. But I mean, I am really set up for big disappointment if this
But
thing doesn't.
I have to say, James Gunn has made 6 feature films that I love: Slither, Super, Guardians 1 through 3, and The Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoyed that's 6 movies. So I can't imagine, knowing his sensibility and knowing what he's going to bring to the table, I can't imagine that I would have an adverse, like, to hate this movie. I don't know who this woman is, but to say they hate it, it might be a tonal issue. I can understand if you like the mythic nature, even Christopher Reeve's more grounded Superman. There's not kaiju in there. There's not Crypto the Flying Superdog. That in itself is a sensibility issue that I think a lot of people might reject out of hand. I know a lot of the people that love Zack Snyder's work are going to have a really hard time embracing this movie because of that tone. And I get it. But I think we should all give it a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of Zack Snyder's stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing
We
this.
both love Man of Steel.
Yeah, I love most of the stuff that he's done.
Yeah.
So, Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, if you were like me and you're kind of hoping when those first things come out and the first reviews come out and the Rotten Tomatoes score goes up, if you're like me and you've been kind of hoping it would be like a pure, straight out of the shot, 100%, well, it ain't. It's not going to be that, because I now know at least somebody who completely really did not like it. And again, this is somebody who's pretty balanced kind of reviewer. So it's not going to be for everybody, and that's okay. No movie is. Hopefully we'll love it. We'll see. We're like 10 days away now from seeing it. Whatever you guys are feeling about this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.